Welcome to Pulse Check, where we have quick conversations about how to help people across Alabama live healthier lives. Today, we're talking about something innovative that could change the way people think about nutrition and healthcare, a teaching kitchen. Joining me is Dr. Bryan Strickland, an internist in Montgomery with more than 30 years of medical experience and a longtime advocate for lifestyle medicine and plant-forward nutrition. Dr. Strickland is also an assistant professor at the UAB Heersink School of Medicine, and he is board certified in internal medicine and lifestyle medicine. Dr. Strickland is helping lead efforts to launch a teaching kitchen in Montgomery, Alabama, in partnership with UAB and Baptist Health. It's an initiative designed to help people turn nutrition education into practical, everyday habits through hands-on cooking and real-life skills. This episode is really about the fact that people know what they should do to eat healthier, but the problem is they don't always know how. That's where the teaching kitchen becomes powerful. Dr. Strickland, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me, Angie.
Absolutely. So for people who may have never heard the term before, what exactly is a teaching kitchen?
A teaching kitchen is a place where you can go and get hands-on learning experiences using knives, using an oven, using a stovetop, using a skillet, and also using some appliances that make creating delicious, healthy food a little bit easier. Things like instant pots that are relatively inexpensive, automatic pressure, and blenders that you can use to make sauces and things like that. So you get hands-on experiences using these things.
Wonderful. Well, why do you think so many people struggle to turn nutrition advice into everyday habits?
Well, a huge part of it is the lack of the skills to do it. But this is a question can be answered in so many different ways. Now, what we know is that about 70% of food that's purchased at grocery stores is processed or very highly processed. And then so those foods don't require any using knives or ovens or anything like that. Maybe it just involves a microwave. And then people eat out at restaurants at least 3 times per month and get takeout or delivery about 5 times a month. All of those, and plus the leftovers from that, all of those meals don't involve using your skills or your equipment in your kitchen at all. So those numbers I just gave you are the average. Some people are pretty far above that as to where they're having meals that are prepared by others and food that are prepared by others almost every meal all day, every day, all year. And some households, that's even been the case for generations. So those skills have been lost. And our intent in the teaching kitchen is to try to help people gain those skills so they can improve their food choice.
You mentioned that, and that's something that I was very interested in, that across the generations, those food preparation skills have been lost. What's something that my grandmother knew to do 100 years ago that maybe I don't do?
Well, I mean, she didn't have so many options around her to have a quickly prepared meal, a meal that was prepared by somebody else, a drive-through and things like that. So she was making a lot more food at home. There have been studies done that show that if you just manage to cook at home, that you're going to have significantly reduced intake of calories and sugar and fat, and you're going to have a greater compliance with guidelines for a healthy diet. Just managing to eat at home gets you all of those benefits. And your grandmother was doing that a whole lot more than we were just because she didn't have the other option.
Absolutely. Well, you've also talked about the importance of incremental change. Why do small changes tend to work better than big, dramatic restrictions?
Well, the way the evidence points, it points to a whole food, plant-based diet being the ideal. And when you're going all the way with that, it's whole fruits, whole vegetables, whole grains, whole beans, manipulated however you can with the equipment that's in your kitchen, with the things you have in your kitchen, and not going beyond that. Now, that's the ideal. But what multiple studies have shown, the China study, the Adventist Health studies, what they show is that the further you go in that direction, the better you do with your health. But any movement in that direction does bring you benefit. So incremental change can be great. Going all the way is the ideal, but don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Any movement you make in that direction is going to help you.
Well said. Perfect cannot be the enemy of good. Just get started. Do you think people would be surprised to learn that the more they eat in a healthier way, the more they crave that type of food?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of been excited about how my tastes have changed. I spent a lot of my life, decades of my life, meat and meat and a couple other things, 3 meals a day, every day, and for my snacks too. And you especially when that's food that somebody else has prepared, you're getting really high intake of fat, salt, and sweet. And when that becomes normal to you, that high fat, high salt, high sweet, when that becomes normal to you, then having fruits, vegetables, grains, and beans that just have the natural amount of fat, salt, and sweet that we were originally designed to find appealing, because that's so much less fat, salt, sweet than what you've gotten used to with the food that other people are preparing for you. It just doesn't taste as good. Taste is kind of a funny word, because what's really going on is you're sitting down to a meal and starting to eat, and your brain is expecting this big hit of fat, salt, and sweet that you're used to getting at restaurants and drive-thrus. So in order to balance that out and keep that from being too much, even before you start eating, your brain will be loading chemicals on this side, hoping to balance out that fat, salt, sweet. When that fat, salt, sweet doesn't come, these chemicals your brain is put on this side of the seesaw, they tip this way, and you feel bad. And a lot of people refer to that as the food tasting bad, and it's not really what's going on, or at least it makes you rethink what we mean by that word taste. It's this tipping of chemicals in your brain, and it takes a little while of eating fruits, vegetables, grains, beans, and not having as much of these other things. It takes a while for your brain to recognize that as being normal and not tip you this way when you have the healthier food.
That's a great explanation. So basically, you can retrain your brain over time to want to reach for those healthier options.
Yeah. And so, what's going on here is the deeper instinctive part of your brain has this pleasure and reward center, lights up with things that revolve around sex. It lights up with romantic love. It lights up with nicotine, with alcohol, with opioids. But it also lights up with fat, salt, and sweet. This is all in the same mechanism in your deeper instinctive brain that does a lot of control of influencing your behavior and your choices. When you recognize that's what's going on, when it's that deeper instinctive part of your brain, that pleasure and reward center, when you recognize that's what's going on, then as you're approaching the task of trying to change what food you're choosing, you understand a little bit more what you're up against. And maybe you can apply some of the strategies we've learned over the decades for trying to help people break free from an alcohol addiction, or break free from cigarettes, or break free from opioids. The same kind of techniques can apply to helping you improve your food choices, or at least especially if you're trying to go far in that direction.
I love that. So look at it sort of with that light. Well, beyond fat, salt, and sweet, beyond the actual food, the way that it tastes, in the South, food traditions are deeply connected to family and culture. So, how do you encourage healthier choices without making people feel like they have to give up that part of the overall food experience? Because a
Well,
lot of times you might be on a healthier journey, but you're surrounded by people who are not. You want to spend time with them. What are some swaps or some changes people can do?
I think those are big, big challenges. And one thing that I encourage people to do is recognize you're there for the people, you're there for the connections much more than you're there for eating the food that might be tremendously unhealthy that revolves around that. So I've found when I've changed the way I eat, I I really focus more and embrace more my interactions with the people around. Yeah. Another thing to do is, maybe you're the person that brings a healthy dish to add to the mix of food that's going to be there. And maybe um, maybe that kind of influences other people, the people that you love, to be a little bit more healthy. The other thing I would encourage you to do is maybe eat a little something ahead of time, so that you're not making kind of desperate, hungry decisions. Just eating an apple before entering a environment like that can really help improve the choices you
Well, that's really smart. That's really smart. Pack an apple, prepare ahead of time, and then lean into other ways that you can engage the people you're with, not sharing a piece of pie necessarily, but just sharing some good conversation.
Sure. Yeah, and look, and just don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
What are some of the biggest health conditions you see that are directly impacted by nutrition, where you say to yourself, wow, if this person just did this, not that, ate this, not that, they wouldn't be in this situation?
Yeah, I mean, look, diabetes, heart disease, and obesity are certainly the three of the where the impact is the greatest. Now, where you can see, but I think they're challenging because the impact is also really, really, really slow. Now, one place where you can see more immediately what's going on is blood pressure. And when somebody has a salty meal, the blood pressure is very, very high soon after that. And you can maybe see more directly the connection. Just when I check people's blood pressure in my office and they come in, it's like 170, 180. I mean, it's amazing how often they ate at a restaurant the night before. Or, sometimes it's that they had rotisserie chicken or something like that. And that's a real challenge because our culture kind of had this message that chicken is just so much more healthy than beef and pork. But really, it's more that it's rather similar with regard to health. That it's just a different mix of issues. And one big issue is it tends to have a good bit of salt, and you'll see that pretty quickly in the blood pressure.
Thanks for that. And I'm terrified now you're taking away my rotisserie chicken. That is an easy meal prep just to throw some rotisserie chicken on top of a salad or something like that. But I'll have to look into that. So, what's one realistic nutrition change that somebody could make this week, like implement immediately? What's something that somebody could do if their aim is to begin a healthier eating journey?
Just try to have an extra serving of fruits or vegetables at every meal.
Mhm.
And that'll really help you take a real good step in the right direction. And it'll be a little bit more powerful the more it crowds out some of the meat, cheese, dairy, eggs, especially the highly processed foods. But start with one serving each meal. If you can go up to 2 or even 3 later on, that would be great.
That's such great advice I hadn't thought about. When you're getting started, don't look at taking something away. Just add a healthier option. Add another serving of fruits, another serving of vegetables. That's really smart. And it doesn't feel so restrictive right out of the gate.
Yeah, we've got some wonderful experts out there that have been working and thinking on this for a while. And we really have found that it's a whole lot more easy to add something than to focus on taking something away.
Very cool. Well, what excites you the most about bringing the teaching kitchen to Montgomery?
No, just connecting with people. I think it's just going to be a wonderful experience. It just, you cook together with somebody and you can't help but connect with them and come away liking them a little bit better. Uh, you know, Before we came on here, you were talking about Bob Israel, who's down at South Alabama working with their teaching kitchen. And he did this thing where he brought together some of the sports coaches from these rival schools, and they all cooked together. And the amazing thing, and they came in there, they feel really antagonistic, competitive with each other. But then towards the end, they're connecting with each other, they're laughing together, they're enjoying each other's company, and then they went on to stay in touch with each other long after they had this experience in the teaching kitchen. But it's that kind of connecting with people and those good vibes that I'm really looking forward to.
I love that. In the ancient world, reconciliation always happened over a meal. So
Yeah,
it seems like that's still the way to go.
yeah, very much so, I think.
Well, last question. If there's one thing you wish more people across Alabama understood about finding and cooking fresh, healthy, whole foods, what would that be?
Let me give you 2. One is a bowl. A bowl is a great formula. It's a layer of a grain, a layer of a bean, a layer of a green leafy vegetable, a layer of another vegetable for texture and flavor, and a sauce. That's a wonderful, tremendously healthy meal. It looks like a meal. It sits in your stomach like a meal. It carries you like a meal. And the beauty of what I just gave you is what I gave you is over 10,000 recipes. But it gives you just enough structure so that you're not coming to that meal like trying to take on a blank sheet of paper in junior high and have to write something on it, right? And the other thing I would encourage is to eat food seasonally. When you eat food that's in season, that's when its flavor is the best. It's when the nutrition is going to be the greatest. And, we're fortunate here in Alabama to have some fruits and vegetables that are in season all year round. And I just love it because you've always got something that if you're like me, you're wallowing in it, just really having a lot of it. Like right now it's strawberries and some other berries like blackberries. But then there's always something new coming to look forward to. We'll lose the strawberries pretty quickly, but then we'll have the peaches that'll carry us through a lot of the summer. And then when the peaches go away, we'll have the citrus or even the persimmons and then the citrus. But you've always got something that is just delicious and exciting. You've always got something to look forward to. eat seasonally. It's gonna make things a lot more fun, I think, and it'll help you have a lot more variety through the year. And there's been studies that have shown that the more variety you have in your food, the better off you're going to be. Eating seasonally drives you towards that.
Perfect. So we've always heard about the food color wheel. And if you follow the seasons, it sounds like that'll naturally happen.
Yeah. Yep.
Perfect.
And it's fun.
Well, Dr. Strickland, thank you so much for sharing today. Tell us how we can find you. Tell us how we could get involved in the teaching kitchen. Tell us about your YouTube cooking channel, cookbook that you've got going on. How can people reach you or learn more about what you're doing?
So our YouTube cooking channel was kind of our COVID project. I've started up being faculty at this residency program, so I haven't had time to put as many videos up for a while. But if you go to Strickland's ampersand UFPB, you can get to our cooking channel. Yeah, you could email me at bryanstrickland@uabmc.edu. That could be a way to be in touch. And when our teaching kitchen is still a little ways away from coming online. And at the beginning, we may be focusing on some programs with medical students. I found a way to have some elective courses for them taught at the teaching kitchen. But we do hope to have some more public-facing programs in the future. And when we get to that hurdle, we'll try to be loud.
Well, if you're watching and you want more information about Pulse or you want to view more stories like this one, go to alabamapulsemagazine.com. And if you have any thoughts on who we should interview next or what topics we should cover, leave a note in the comments. Thanks so much.